Welcome to Stillwater's Wreath Designs. Today I'll be teaching you step by step how to make this Hello Summer wreath in 30 minutes. Let's start creating. Hello, my fellow wreath makers. Come on in. How is everyone today? I'm getting ready to make a Hello Summer wreath for a customer order, and I thought I'd bring you along with me while I create this. If you are new to my channel, friends, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Stillwater's Wreath Designs focuses on all things door decor, specifically wreaths and door swags. If you love all things wreath making, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got new tutorials uploading every single week. Let me show you some of the supplies we'll be using today, friends. We've got the super cute Hello Summer wreath sign. We'll be using a 14-inch Dollar Tree wire wreath frame. You're going to need 18 chenille stems or pipe cleaners. Your choice of 3 10-inch DECO mesh rolls. Some coordinating wired ribbon. And then the tools you're going to need, friends, will be your hot glue gun and some glue sticks, a good pair of scissors, your rotary cutter and self-healing mat if you prefer, and 2 mounting squares. Of course, I'll leave a detailed materials and tools list for you below in the description of this video so you can recreate it if you'd like to do so. You can also purchase this completed wreath in my Etsy shop. I'll leave that link for you below. Friends, go ahead and get your glue gun plugged in and heating up. Before we load our wreath, we need to get our sign ready so that we can get that attached once we're ready to do so. And what I'm going to be using here, friends, are these mounting brackets. If you are new to wreath making, you'll definitely want to grab some mounting brackets for your wreath making supply stash. These guys are super cost effective. You can get bags of 100 for just a few dollars, and they're basically just 1-inch by 1-inch squares. They've got holes in them all the way around so that you can run your pipe cleaner or floral wire through them to attach your signs or embellishments into your wreath. And then the back of them has a really sturdy 3M sticky tape, so that you can stick these guys right down onto your sign or embellishment. So that's what we're going to use today. You just peel off that tape and stick that mounting bracket down. I generally use 2, 1 on each end of my sign or embellishment. They don't have to be straight, friends. Nobody's ever going to see those. And then just for some extra strength and stability, I like to then take my glue gun and just run a quick bead of glue around the mounting brackets, just to give that some extra hold onto our sign. There we go. We'll flip this around and do the same thing to the other end. So that bead of glue is halfway abutted to your mounting bracket, and then the other half right down on your sign. That just gives it a little extra strength. There we go. Go ahead and leave your glue gun plugged in. We're going to be using that again here in just a moment. But for now, take your decorative sign and set that guy off to the side so it can be drying while we do some other things here to prepare for our wreath. So the first thing we need to do, friends, is prepare our wire wreath frame. And again, this is the 14-inch wire frame that you can find at the Dollar Tree. And if you're new to wreath making, friends, this is a wire wreath frame. You'll see that there are 4 rings starting from the inner to the outer. You've got rings 1, 2, 3, and 4. You've got 6 crossbars around the wire wreath frame, and therefore you've got 6 sections, and a section is the space between one crossbar to the other. And we need to add our pipe cleaners or chenille stems into our wire wreath frame, friends. That's what we're going to use to hold our deco mesh. And you'll need 18. These are just standard length pipe cleaners. You can get them, you know, on Amazon or any online retailer, Dollar General, all kinds of places. So to add our chenille stems or our pipe cleaners into our frame, friends, we're going to add 2 rows of pipe cleaners. And the first row is going to be 1 pipe cleaner getting added into each section and wrapped around rings 1 and 2. So I'm just going to find that center point. My pipe cleaner is going underneath rings 1 and 2, and then I'm just going to give it a couple of tight twists. There we go. And then I'll point those pipe cleaners towards the center of our wreath frame. So you can see that that is added right between those 2 brackets, so in the middle of that section. And we're going to do this all the way around our wire frame, friends. Let's do one more together and then we'll speed through. Grab your pipe cleaner, run it underneath rings 1 and 2 of your next section, right there in the middle. Give it 2 tight twists, and then point those guys towards the center. Okay, so we wrapped it around rings 1 and 2, couple of tight twists, and pointed towards the center. You'll be adding 1 per section all the way around your wreath frame. So let's get these added in, friends, and I'll meet you back here. Now that we've added our first layer of pipe cleaners of chenille or chenille stems, it's time to add our second layer. So this time, friends, we're going to be adding 2 pipe cleaners per section around rings 3 and 4. So you're just going to identify 1/3 of the way in, so centered here, on rings 3 and 4, following the same method we did before. Run your pipe cleaner underneath rings 3 and 4. Give it a couple of tight twists, and this time point those guys outwards. And then we're going to add 1 more to this section. So run your pipe cleaner underneath rings 3 and 4, and you're basically centering these 2 within the section. Give it a couple of tight twists, and then point those guys outward. So as you can see, we've got 2 added around rings 3 and 4, and those 2 are centered within that section. Let's do one more section together, friends, and then we'll speed through. Grab your pipe cleaner, run it underneath rings 3 and 4, give it a couple of tight twists, point those guys outwards, and then add your second pipe cleaner to this section, running it underneath rings 3 and 4, giving it a couple of tight twists, and pointing those guys outwards. And again, you want those 2 pipe cleaners to be centered within that section. So go ahead and add those 2 pipe cleaners around rings 3 and 4 through all of your sections, and I'll meet you back here. All right, friends, now we've got our wire wreath frame fully loaded with our pipe cleaners. You should have 3 per section for a total of 18 on your wire frame. So now go ahead and grab your hot glue gun here, friends, and what we're going to do is just add a teeny tiny dollop to every chenille stem at one connecting point or the other. You don't need to do both, that's overkill. Just a teeny tiny drop of hot glue that runs partially over your chenille stem and partially over your wire wreath frame. That'll just keep that guy from sliding around. So this is literally maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch in length, a single stripe for every chenille stem. So just work your way around your wreath, adding that dollop of glue to every pipe cleaner, and I'll meet you back here. Once you've added a drop of glue to every pipe cleaner, friends, go ahead and set your wreath frame off to the side so we can prepare our deco mesh. And that'll also give your glue time to dry here. It's time to get this cut so that we can get it loaded into our wreath frame here. And remember, we have 18 chenille stem or pipe cleaner ties on our wreath base. And so since we're using 3 colors, we're going to need 6 cuts of each because we'll be adding 1 piece of deco mesh into each of the pipe cleaner ties, friends. We're going to do the cruffle method today for this wreath. So go ahead and grab your scissors or your rotary cutter if that's your preferred method. And we're going to measure these cruffles out into 25 inches. And so you're just going to roll your deco mesh out, friends, to the 25-inch mark, and then give it a cut. So you're going to be cutting, again, 6 pieces of each of the 3 colors at 25 inches in length, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, friends, I've got my deco mesh pieces cut and prepped and ready to go. So you should have 18 pieces cut at 25 inches in length. Go ahead and grab your wire wreath frame. And I would also recommend a chip clip or a clothespin or some sort of clip, and I'll show you why here in just a second. Again, friends, we are going to do the cruffle method for this wreath base. If you're new to wreath making, friends, and you're not aware, deco mesh loves to fray. And so the cruffle method is a great way to help prevent that fray. And so what I want you to do, friends, is to grab one of your pieces of deco mesh. And as you can see, it likes to curl in on itself. So you want that to be curl side up. And I'm going to grab just a little tin here that I use to keep my deco mesh from curling all the way in onto itself. So at one end, you're basically going to curl your deco mesh in 2 or 3 times, and then with your clip, pinch that together in the middle. So what we've done here, friends, we've actually created a cute curl, and the purpose of that is it tucks away that raw edge of your deco mesh to help prevent the fray. Then you're going to spin your piece around and do the exact same thing. Go ahead and make a tight curl, just rolling it 2 or 3 times. And then what you're going to do, friends, is remove your weight if you used one. You're going to keep your hands on that curl and stationary. So your thumbs aren't going to move, and then you'll take your fingers to scrunch and gather, essentially walking that deco mesh right back into your hand, all the way until you get to the end of that piece, which basically makes a ruffle. Once you get to the end, go ahead and remove your chip clip, pinch that cruffle together in the middle. And what you can see here, friends, a cruffle is basically just curls and then a ruffle in the middle, hence the cruffle. So keep a hold of your cruffle in the middle there, and bring your wire wreath frame close to your work area. And I prefer to always start at the bottom. It truly doesn't matter. We're going to add 1 cruffle to every single set of ties on both the upper and lower level of our wire frame. And because we have 3 colors, friends, I'm going to go alternatingly between those 3. Now, let me just add that this video, it's basically just a recipe. So feel free to tweak this as you'd like. You can use as many or as few color choices of your deco mesh, that you would like. This is just a recipe, so please make it your own. So what you're going to do is come to the first set of ties, open them up to a wide V, and then take your cruffle and put it right in the center of that V all the way down to the base. And then take your pipe cleaners and give it 2 or 3 tight twists to hold that guy in place, and then fold those pipe cleaner ties back out towards away from the center of your wreath. And you've just added your first cruffle. So let's add 1 more together, friends, and then we'll zip through this part pretty quickly. So again, you're going to grab your piece of deco mesh, curl side up. I'm going to place my little weight here. And I'm just going to curl in the ends 2 or 3 tight times. Then I'm going to take my clip and clip that together in the center to hold it in place. Spin your deco mesh around. Do the exact same thing on the other end, making 2 or 3 tight curls. And then keeping your hand stationary, use your fingers to scrunch and gather that deco mesh or walk the deco mesh right into your hand until you reach the end of your piece. And then once you reach the end of your piece, you can remove that clip. Go ahead and pinch it right in the center of your cruffle. Come to your very next set of pipe cleaner ties. Holding your cruffle in the middle, place that in the center of the V of your pipe cleaners all the way down to the base. And then with your pipe cleaners, give them 2 or 3 tight twists and point those guys back out towards away from the center. And then I just abut my curls here together so they're laying nicely. And we're going to do this all the way around the lower ring. And then once we've filled our lower ring, jump up to your inner ring and fill those as well. So you'll be adding 1 cruffle to every single set of pipe cleaner ties, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, friends, we've fully loaded our wreath with 18 of our cruffles, and it is looking great. It's time to jump on to our next step. So go ahead and sit your wreath base off to the side. And now you're going to want to grab a good pair of scissors and your choice of decorative ribbon. So I've grabbed 4 different ribbon types here, friends. All are wired ribbon. I've grabbed 2 2.5-inch ribbon and 2 1.5-inch ribbon, and we are going to cut and prepare ribbon tails for our wreath base. You can use as many or as few as you would like. We're going to be adding 2 ribbon tails per set of pipe cleaner. I prefer the different widths. I just feel like it gives it a little bit more depth and dimension, but that's just personal preference. You can use any ribbon you would like. Just make sure that whatever ribbon you choose, it is wired. Wired ribbon holds its form much better than unwired ribbon. So we're going to make our tails at this point, friends. And so remember, we've got 18 ties, pipe cleaner ties in our wire wreath frame, and we're adding 2 ribbons to each set of pipe cleaner ties. We're going to add 1 2.5-inch tail ribbon and 1 1.5-inch ribbon tail. And we're going to cut our tails at 10 inches. So what I'm going to do, friends, let me show you an easy, quick way to make your tails. You're going to measure out your 10 inches. And once you've identified that 10-inch spot, friends, just kind of mark it with your finger. And then what I want you to do, accordion style, is fold your ribbon over onto itself until you've got 9 pieces of each, because remember, we're using 2 different 2.5-inch ribbons and we're going to alternate, and we've got 18 set of ties, so we're going to need 9 each. And so I'm just going to fold it over onto itself, accordion style, back and forth here until I've got 9 pieces. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just count them real quickly, friends, to make sure you do in fact have 9, and then grab your scissors and just cut that guy off. And friends, don't stress over perfection. It could be 9.5-inch tails, could be 10.5-inch tails. Doesn't matter as long as it's somewhere close within that range. And now what we're going to do, friends, is cut our ends. I'm going to angle cut. Now it's important you know the strength of your scissors, okay? My scissors can handle cutting these many ribbons at once. If yours can't, just cut your stack in half and, you know, do half at a time or however much ribbon your scissors can comfortably cut. And you can either cut a dovetail to trim your ends, or you can cut at an angle. I'm going to cut at an angle. So I'm just going to come down about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch and then cut up diagonally to the opposite corner, taking my time here because that's a pretty thick ribbon stack. Okay, and then I'm going to flip over the end, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to make sure those ends are married up pretty well. I'm going to come down 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch and slowly cut my way up to the opposing corner. There we go. And so let me show you the beauty of this method, friends. Not only did we fold and cut out all of our ribbons at one time, we also, when we cut them, separated and trimmed our ends accordingly. So I'm going to zoom through this part, friends. Go ahead and cut all of your ribbon tails at 10 inches in length. And you're going to want, if you're using 4 different ribbon types, you're going to want 9 pieces of each ribbon. So go ahead and cut your tails, and I'll meet you back here. Once you have your ribbon tails all prepped and ready to go ahead and determine what 2 ribbons you'll be pairing together, because remember, we're going to add 2 ribbon tails to each set of pipe cleaners. So predetermine what you would like to match up together. And also you're going to want to grab your lightweight snips or a good pair of scissors. And it's time to add our tails into our pipe cleaners, friends. And so to add tails, you're going to grab 2 ribbon tails. I always pair up a 1.5 inch ribbon with a 2.5 inch ribbon, but you can totally match them up as you wish. You're going to lay one on top of the other. Identify that center point. You can either eyeball it. We're certainly not looking for perfection. Or if you're more comfortable, just fold that ribbon stack in half, and then you'll know that center point is where the fold is. And once you've identified the center, friends, just kind of pinch and pleat in the middle of your ribbons so it looks like a men's bow tie. And then you're going to fold that kind of into a loose V over your fingers. And we're going to add 1 set of tails, and remember that's 2 ribbons, to every single pipe cleaner. And I'm going to start at the lower level. That's just my personal preference. You can certainly do it, how you wish. So what you're going to do is open up those pipe cleaners again, add your set of ribbon tails all the way down to the center at the base, and give those pipe cleaners 2 or 3 super tight twists. And after you've done that, grab your snips and just trim off the excess bit of pipe cleaner because you won't need the rest of that. Then I fluff out my tails, and by fluff out, friends, I'm just running my fingers over them and making a loose V. And that's all there is to it. Let's do one more set of tails. So again, grab your 2 ribbon choices, lay 1 ribbon on top of the other, identify that center point, pinch and pleat in the middle until you've created a men's bow tie. Gently fold that ribbon right over your thumb so it's a loose V. Move to your next set of pipe cleaners, open up those pipe cleaners a little bit, and add your ribbon tails all the way down to the base at the center of those pipe cleaners. And then give those pipe cleaners 2 or 3 tight twists, and grab your snips and trim off the remaining bits of those pipe cleaners. Take your fingers and just fluff out those tails, and I'm just ensuring that I've got this loose V here and that they're laying nicely. And we've just added our second set of tails. You're going to add 1 set of ribbon tails to every single pipe cleaner on both the upper and the lower levels of your wreath base. Trim off the excess bits of pipe cleaner as you go, and then I'll meet you back here for the last step. Our summer wreath is nearly finished, friends. It is loaded down with a ton of cruffles and lots of ribbon tails, and we've got one more step, friends. It's time to add our sign in. And it should be totally dry at this point. So go ahead and grab that sign, and I'm going to use 2 heavy gauge floral wire stems. You could also use pipe cleaners if that's what you've got available to you. Friends, you can buy these in bulk from Hobby Lobby or on Amazon. They're 18 inches in length and heavy gauge and great for adding in attachments to your wreath. So I'm going to take my first floral wire stem and fold that guy in half just to identify that center point there at the V. And then we'll run that through one of the brackets, give it 2 or 3 loose twists just to keep that guy in place. And then we'll do the same thing on the other end. And it's time to add our sign in, friends. And there's really no top or bottom to our wreath base, friends. So you can really add this, you know, wherever you'd like. You're welcome to add that at the lower level, the upper level. I'll be adding it right to the middle. And so I'm just going to push these wires straight through our wreath base, and then we'll tie them on the back side. It's also helpful, friends, although not required, if you can manage to cross those guys over a crossbar. Just keeps it from sliding it around. As you can see, I've got one that way and one I missed. So I'm going to pull that out and redirect. So then I'm going to flip it over just to make sure that it's where I want it to sit, and it is. And so now we can flip that guy back over, and I'm going to tighten those down a little bit more tightly. And I'm twisting our wires together, probably 4 or 5 times, friends, to really give that a good, strong connection. And then I'm going to trim off my excess bits of floral wire. And then I'll grab my needle nose pliers, and I'm going to pinch those ends together and just kind of curl them down and back in so that it doesn't, you know, poke us or scratch our customer's door. And then I'm going to come back over here and do the exact same thing. And basically you want that tension on your wire or chenille stems to be at about, 80% or so. You want it tight enough that it's not going to go anywhere and it stays stable on your wreath. But you don't want it so tight that that sign disappears down into your wreath and puts too much pressure on those mounting brackets, causing them to come loose. So we're going to flip it back over one more time. It looks great. It's nice and stable. I'm just going to pull my DECO mesh forward a little bit. It's too pretty to keep it tucked away into our wreath, and let everybody see all this all these beautiful bits. And I'm just making sure my tails are getting pulled back out if they got tucked underneath when we were adding that in. It looks fantastic. Thank you for spending time with me today to create this beauty, friends. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel to grow. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button. Also, this entire wreath you can purchase as a kit or as a completed wreath right in my Etsy shop. I'll leave that link for you below. Thanks, friends. Happy crafting.